for this?
Right on!
A warm welcome to the first recon ride of the ZRL 2025 winter season tour. We are on a new route which is called Southern Coast Cruise, and we are starting out of the let's see, that's a good question. We will start. Technology is hopefully my favorite here. So we will start down here from the grade. We're going to the right, all the way over the Southern Coast Cruise Express, or West Coast Express, how I call it, into the desert, where we circle around the desert loop-de-loop there at the end, the LAX airport building, as it looks like a little bit, and then coming back all the rollers here, and we're finishing over here on the grade, and it looks like we are going the loop-de-loop on the grade 2, and then going all the way back. I think it's going to be the what is it called, the Bigfoot Sprint or something. We will figure that out. Zwift Eric Schlanger from Zwift Insider has done some good work again. It's the watch out for Sasquatch. Yeah, so this is going to be interesting. I love this course, very rolling terrain. So having said that, let's get right into it. All right, like I said, this is a recon ride. The people here may or may not race it at a pace of 2.2 to 2.7 watts per kilo. We will have P. Larkin from Team RIT as the yellow beacon, who will give us some pointers on the course. However, I will give you my 2 cents as well. What is TTT, or what is ZRL, the Zwift Racing League, the TTT format? You racing with 6 team players, and the best 4, the 4th team player who crosses the line will get timed, and that time will be measured compared to the other teams, which may or may not be faster than you on that particular track. So whatever you need at least 4 people to cross the line, and 6 people is better because you travel faster with 6 throughout. So I will give you some pointers of what is going on here and how this will unfold. If we have the TTT pens set up here, I would highly recommend doing the following bike choices. Okay, this is how we start. We have a KDX TT bike, and whatever you do on this terrain, you want to have a disc wheel on the back. So bike choice, error is possible. KDX, which is displayed here on the left from our friend Nordstrand from Galaxy Team. And that's your bike setup. I would probably race with the Canyon, but I would highly recommend you checking out your TT bike and what it means for you to be as fast as possible. And there's one caveat. I hope you had the time to update your TT bike. There are 5 stages you can do to upgrade your TT bike and make it faster. So I highly recommend doing that. So having that in the can, we are going on the pants, and the best scenario going on the pants is everybody accelerates with a good sprint. Let's give it 300-400 watts at least, and you guys all shooting out of the pants. And in order to be successful in the TTT, you have to have kind of like a little bit of an order how you start out. An order meaning who is the first rider who pulls, the second, the third, the fourth, and so on. And a good TT team is the TT team, which is always the fastest, but who works smoothly together, who makes smooth transitions. So if the first rider says, okay, I'm gonna, and let's just an example for a certain category. Let's say it's category B or C. Okay. If the first rider goes out and says, I'm gonna push 4 watts per kilo for 1 minute, then normally what you should do over the intercom, that would be the best if you communicate or you have it set to certain times, that the first guy says, okay, I'm taking over for 1 minute. You say your name, Chris, on for 1 minute. So then you say, okay, look to the time right now. Chris on for 1 minute until 4, okay, 4 minutes. Boom. I'm gonna push 4 watts per kilo for 1 minute. The person behind me, which is already determined in your pre-conversation before you enter the race, who is second in command, third in command, and so on, is already behind me. So that when I say Chris off in 10, means when the clock says 3:50, I said Chris off in 10, the second guy in command should be already accelerating, a smooth acceleration to take over by 4. So that, let's say, the second guy, his name is Johnny. Then Chris says, Chris off in 10, Chris off in 5, 4, 3, and then Johnny on for 1 minute. Johnny taking over. Johnny is now in the lead in front of me. So you want to try to minimize the power drop as much as possible. And then Chris will, it's important, Chris will get off the power, let's say for 1 or 2 seconds, and the whole team hopefully not flies by, but drifts by, so Chris can easily pick up the paddling and attach himself to the back of the group as 6th rider. So now Johnny is pushing for 1 minute, and Lucas is in 3rd position. Lucas now needs to push a little bit more because he lost some draft, because I was 1st, Johnny was 2nd, Lucas was 3rd. So the farther back you are, the better draft benefits you have. So with moving forward towards the line of wind, you have to push harder. So be aware of that. So as more as you move up to the front, you want to be as close as possible to your man in front of you, and don't lose the wheel. So because then other teammates may or may not have to sprint by and close the gap. So it's all about a smooth ride. There are some certain tactics, we can talk about it later, how to can sacrifice a person at the end of the TT, okay? But let's get into the nitty-gritty here. So we talked about the rotation at the front. Chris off in 10, Chris off in 5, 4, 3, Johnny taking over for 1, or Johnny taking over at 6, being in the front until 7, okay? It could be that that some people are only pushing 30 seconds on the front, or less or longer. So that's up to you and your team. So if you have like diesel engines in your team, which can make up some people's performance, but you need 6, it's good. Then you let that diesel engine go for 1.5 minute, and the lighter riders maybe for 30 seconds. So that's the rotation. Let's talk about the time. So you're starting with 6 people, and yes, there will come a point, and it's brutally hard. TTs are brutally hard. You will get on your threshold. You will get close to your FTP, and so on. So I highly recommend pacing yourself. Okay, pacing is important. communicate throughout the team how everybody is feeling, not so much at the beginning, but throughout. So there will come a point where some people maybe overcook themselves and they say they're gonna skip a rotation. So you have to pull longer, or you say, Chris is pulling for 1 minute, and then I hear from the back, Johnny is skipping this turn. So Johnny will stay in second or third position, and people like Lucas will skip over Johnny and do Johnny's turn, and then it rotates down the line. That way you still keep Johnny in the group and keep the core speed high, so people can rotate around Johnny. If the case that Johnny completely breaks off and say, guys, I cannot do it anymore, I'm blowing up, I would highly recommend that Johnny finds one more match and said, Johnny, do one more push, 30 seconds. Okay, Johnny goes on front, okay, Johnny on for 30 seconds. He pushes whatever he can, respectively. So don't go over for, like crazy 6 or 7. That will blow the team apart. Do it consistently. And then Johnny breaks off and he can let him ride into the sunset. So that means you are only 5 people that much longer. So your rotation is higher. You would need to pull more often. That means your team most likely will get slower over time. Sometimes you have technicals, which happens, and you start with 5. You know, it happens. But yeah, I wouldn't look too much to other teams which start probably 30 seconds to a minute or sometimes 2 minutes behind you or in front of you. Don't worry about it. It's just maybe a slight orientation, but it's a team event. You're not racing against them as of right now. You want to make it smooth as possible. Let's talk about the last kamikaze action. Let's say you're in the last 5 to 2 kilometers and you're already down to 5 people. Or maybe you are still 6. The last 2 riders, they don't count. So the time counts when the 4th rider crosses the line. That's your finish time. So I would highly recommend at the end, 5 to 2 kilometers, having 2 riders or the 5th rider sacrifice himself for the team. I know sometimes it hurts because it's your Zwift score, your Velo score, whatever. But if you can give the team the big push at the end, you're just gonna go like, let's say, instead of 4 kilo watts per kilo, you're gonna go 5 watts per kilo and overdo it, because you have to overcook yourself with the goal of pushing the team further forward, giving the people a bigger or higher core speed, and at the end being faster, with the goal that you will blow up and you drop out anyways. But finish the race, okay? Sometimes there are technicals at the last like 1 or 2 kilometers, which may or may not require that you are the 4th rider at the end. So I would recommend that you stay with the group as much as you can, as long as you can. Blow up, but you're gonna be the extra, the security, the insurance. Okay? So this particular race here, you can see, is very rolling terrain, which is hard to stay together for TTs. So I highly recommend that you stay close any gaps and don't let big gaps appear. What you can do as a tactic is when you're in the back, like on an incline like this here, you come up from the back and accelerate through the group. I will demonstrate here a little bit. Okay, through the group, use the draft up and give the guys in the front a little bit of a help, but don't overcook it. It's just to give people in the front a little bit help out. They should still stay on the power because you will drop back. It's just like to get the whole formation up that little ramp here a little bit quicker. Same thing on the downhill, so be smart about it. This will be tricky to stay behind each other, but sometimes when you blow up, you're quick too. What is important is communication. Always communicate what you guys gonna do, or if you're in trouble, because these rollers can really suck the life out of you. I don't know what it means in chat. Is it Hebrewish? Arabic? No matter what, thanks for finding me. Thanks for contribution. I hope my tips help a little. On these races, drink, hydrate before. You won't believe how much you will sweat. Have the fans on, everything should be ready. And I highly recommend not jumping into the pens right away. Do a robo pacer before warm up and check if everything is alright. If your heart rate monitor is connected, your trainer, if you have everything on hand before you go into the pens, because the pens don't really give you that much feedback. So I feel that this course here is more for the advanced TT teams, and it has a lot of like coming from the back of the group and pushing the pace on and on and on. Kind of a little bit like snowballing, that's what they call that in Zwift. So again, if you feel fresh, there will be a lot of like rotation going on, or maybe a rotation which is not planned. If some guy came up too quick and now it's dropping back. What I always recommend is holding your power. Like if you're in the front for 1 minute, commit to it. 4.2 watts or 4 watts per kilo, commit to it. Even somebody overtakes you, stay on the gas. Okay? Don't accelerate, don't let go, just commit to it. If the people in the front drop back or just give you a little bit of a drop, that's a help for you in that minute in your pull. When they drop back to their position, then you hopefully can say, okay, I'm off in 10, and then you drop back to your last position and then your recovery time. Okay? How do you know who's first, second, and third? Because most of the time you have all the same jerseys, you look all the same bikes. I recommend 2 things. You can always say, instead of like Chris is on for 1 minute, you could say red or blue or orange is one for 1 minute. And you give yourself hats. I'm right now wearing a black hat and say, okay, black on for 1 minute. And then you have an orange hat. Or what I like to do is socks. Socks is more clear. Big socks. Here we have yellow socks. They're red socks. They're white socks. Black socks. And put them all the way up. Okay. And then you say, okay, white on for 1 minute. So you always know where everybody is. And you get a feel for white is first, black is second, yeah, yellow is third. So that's another tip for visual clues, which is important because most of the time you don't know who is who. So even though the names are displayed here, you can check it out, but you see it on a glance just with colors. The quickest formation in TTT is one after another, and like a pearl chain. So you don't really have to be like just on it. You can be a meter off or two, but don't be further, because then the gaps can form and the team could break up. So be careful about that. That here is the roundabout, I would say halfway point. So in terms of tactic, make sure you save some matches. If you're racing against another team and you're seeing it on the screen, you can visually check how close they are, if they made some time. And even better, if you have somebody de-essing you, then it's more reference important. However, to an on point doesn't mean it's halfway, because most of the time we overcook it. We tend to overcook it a little bit on the first half. So save your matches, because when other people come flying by, they burn some. So, and it always feels good having more energy at the end, where you can really deplete yourself, than coming on the half a round point and saying, oh my god, I'm already done. Yes, it's a little bit downhill here, and it's a little bit of recovery. At this point, you probably want to have one of your heaviest riders leading out the group, because they will gain the most speed. So you can time it out a little bit on the terrain too. Okay, there are two big sections here. One is obviously after the half run point, coming down out of the tunnel, and the other one is closer to the Sasquatch sprint, coming down that ramp, which ends up in the Bunner sprint. Sometimes this is a goal or finish for some races. So that's a big descent. So heaviest rider coming from the back and pulling everybody. Okay. And you guys hang in the back. This can be a time where rotation can be a little bit out of whack, but communication will put it back together. Okay. I'm unsure if steering will be enabled in these races. This one is a recon race. For ZRL, there's no steering. So everybody is automatically in the same lane-ish. Okay? So be mindful of that. If there's steering involved, then you can already cut corners, but make sure you're not putting somebody in the wind behind you. So you have to be mindful. After the turnaround point, this is where things get interesting here on these rollers. I feel these rollers getting bigger and bigger until the beach sprint. So be on the wheel. Don't let gaps open up. Pay attention here. Okay? With really big core speed, you can cross these rollers and gain momentum here on the other side. Very important. You see that here we're crossing over. Stay in the draw as best as possible. If you're going to be as good as some guys or teams that they coordinate their turnovers exactly here, so they're coming from the back and pushing the pace from the back using the draft, that's ideal. It's a lot of coordination, but yeah, turnover in the valley here and come in strong, but don't rip it apart. Don't go too crazy on these like risers here, otherwise you rip up gaps in your team. So stay consistent for your number, for watts per kilo. This is your first pulley number. You can always increase it at the end of the day, the end of the race, okay? Okay. 2 more big risers here, and the beach sprint coming up. So coordinate again on this track here. When you take over, and you're gonna take over with a little bit of oomph to push the team forward, okay? This might mean that the second rider who takes over is coming more from the back. But don't, here, do it gently as I do right now. Come by, don't go full blast. Okay, otherwise you rip a hole in the whole chain. That's not good. You want to provide a draft where people can draft behind you. If you're too quick, people in the back really have to push hard. And then you literally aft going up the other side of this beach. If you're in the back, relax, you relax on these spots. You should not try any positioning. Probably have to push a little to close some gaps, but not much, okay? Here we go. This one's a big one, coming out of the beach sprint, because the drag here is longer. Again, communicate, watch the numbers. We are close to the end now. You're going to be on the ball to not let any gaps rip up. If you think you are close to blowing up, this should be your last pull as a 6th person. So get that 6th right in the front, let him pull you up the drag here, and let him blow up and drop out. That's good. You 5 left for the last 9K. That's okay. Thanks, Anke, for coming in. Appreciate the comments. You see the field is stretching out here. I mean, I don't know which field I'm going to ride now with, but people are pushing here, and they might pushing too hard and losing their teammates. So be aware if you have a bigger spread of performance in your team. Okay? Everybody needs to make it. This could be a time where people might say, hey, I have to skip around, I have to relax. So then your high performance rider have to pick it up. Maybe you have two, and these guys pushing for 1.5 minutes, a little bit less, 3.8 watts per kilo, for example. Two making up 3 minutes and easing out the guy who is a little bit lacking. I hope this is not a race, or it's going to be considered a race, but whatever. I don't think so. So, we are coming up to a big section here. This is your biggest descent in or on the course. So have your heaviest rider ready and rested. So at kilometer, let's say 8, I think I would let them take over. Okay, 200 meters from here. Again, coming in with a little bit of steam. Let the first guy peel off. And from now on, it's gas. It's gas for the big guy, okay? So if the big guy starts pushing here, two things will happen. You will be very focused on the wheel you have in front of you, because it's game time. Last 8K just happened, and you want to be on it, and the speed will increase. It's pretty flat here up here, but you see we're coming up at a 180 degrees corner, like that little S corner here. If you go in with speed, that speed will be carried through the S's and further down up the other ramp. So be on the ball. Don't miss it. Don't use this recovery. You want to speed up here. Okay? So your heaviest guy needs to push 700 meters. And maybe 200 meters more. Like 1 kilometer he has to push. And here, there you go. Push down that hill. Heaviest guy needs to push down that hill. This will be the time where we all like accelerate. And the people in the back, they barely have to push actually. So that's a good recovery. Look at that new lightning effect here. At like 35 kilometers an hour. Looks like he has like his shoelaces like coming off. So yeah, at this point, your train, your TT train, as mentioned here in the chat, is on full blast. Because very rarely you have draft on TT bikes in an event, so it's going to be very, very fast. So you may or may not break some PBs here, going through the banners and so on. me some good pointers in the chat here. You're not all the same weight, so going downhill, it won't be all at one chain. You will blob up, but as a blob, you are the quickest, and hopefully the heaviest guy will be in the front, pushing everybody down. All right. So 5 more kilometers, that is what I call the death zone of TT. You can totally ruin yourself here or blow up. Just a little bit more to paddle. It's all doable. You see, this will be the goal line here. We're just gonna go back to the gradients. We're gonna go around that roundabout and come back this way. This way will be the longer way because there's more uphill and starts now. So be ready to push here and stay on it, stay on it. There's another ramp and it's really the nail biter. If you want to do it right, you probably have to push further into the tunnel, which is slightly uphill too. But after that, you're safe. Make sure you rotate fluently. You might have to adjust your rotation time from like a minute to 45 seconds or 30 seconds. Keep pushing up the tunnel here. A little bit before it's flat, I feel like. If you have an overlay like sauce, like I have, it actually tells you how much draft benefit you get. It helps. Use it if you have it. Publicly accessible, it's not cheating. It's just using what you have available. More people in front of you means more draft. All right. Here we go, last surpriser. Don't sleep in, your team will slow down. You want to push up here. Get a good push, okay? Maybe go to the saddle. There's a little ramp here. We do a good bunch up, but things will change a little. Okay, here we go. We have already people coming back now. I know. I got a bolt out here. go. Last time. This could be the time where your Swift rider peels off and the last 4 on their own. 2 more kilometers to ride. So the rest is basically all downhill here. It will be at the end very, very quick. So if you have 4 people or 5, I highly recommend upping up the front power from 4 to like 4.5. Okay, here we go. The one guy is pushing it right now big time. 4.7. Last uphill. Big one. Okay, basically 1 more K to go. At this point, the team will combine to 1 block if you still have it in you, and get in there. Finish strong. I want to see these heads over the handlebars like this, pumping up the air. Yeah, crossing the line. Okay, I can already see the finish. Push it here, push it here, push it here. Downhill. Try to come from the back. Increase the momentum over the rollers here. And from here on, it's all out. Make sure you come in together as 4. The 4th time counts, okay? That's it. I hope you find that useful. And you like and subscribe. And hopefully, I'll see you guys in the pens next Tuesday to tackle that together. And that is the first stage of the ZRL 2025 TTT. You guys enjoyed it.